Hi Gemini, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your August 2023 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, source what we have in front of us, it's the Celtic cross spread as always, and I also pulled the 4 agreements, wisdom, the oracle, and Mudra card for you guys. I'm actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology eyes we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have 5 and 5th house energy for you guys is Libra. We did just have the South Node move into Libra recently, but aside from that, there's not anything else going on astrologically speaking right now there. But 5th house in general points to romance, creativity, and children. Alright, we have Gemini, so of course that's you guys. So could just be saying you might have a lot of focus on yourselves in this month. Just trying to straighten things out in your lives. And we have the moon. So as far as lunar cycles go, basically at the very beginning of August, there's going to be a full moon in Aquarius, which is your 9th house of philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs. Then there will be a new moon in Leo, which is your 3rd house of communication, siblings, and short journeys. And then I think at the very end of August, there's going to be a full moon in Pisces. So that's actually your 10th house of career and social status. So be on the lookout for those lunar cycles this month. There could be some importance around them. All right, with that out of the way, we'll get started with the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the King of Pentacles, and challenging that, we have the 2 of Cups. So 2 pretty positive cards, but the way I see this, it could just be saying that for a lot of you, might have shifted a lot of your focus toward your financial success, maybe your careers, right? We did just mention that full moon in Pisces at the end of August, which will be related to career. But with this in the challenge position, could just be saying that it might have been to the detriment of your relationships. So for some of you, that could be a romantic relationship for sure, but yeah, maybe even your connections with friends, right? Maybe because you've just been so wrapped up in your career sector, it's just one of those things where you haven't had as much time for outside connections. Now, for some of you as well, it could just be saying if you might feel like you've grown a little bit stagnant around your finances in your career, it could just be saying that the key there could be to actually collaborate with someone where you guys have a meeting of the minds to actually take you to that next step. All right, in the foundation position, we have the 3 of Swords. So this is Libra energy here, 5th house for you guys, which we also saw come out in dice. So for some of you, this could just be saying that maybe initially that might have been what fueled you to put all that focus on your finance, right? I mean, I feel like it's somewhat common. It's kind of sad in a way, but a lot of people, they do tend to, okay, something went wrong in my romantic life. Oh, I'm just going to throw all of my energy into this other area of life to not think about that situation, right? So in the short run, maybe that could be beneficial, but in the long run, it's not necessarily the most healthy thing, right? So for some of you, maybe you're starting to feel some of that come back up to the surface this month. And of course, that makes sense as far as the Venus retrograde energy is going to be a Mercury retrograde as well. So plenty of energies that could bring the past back to the forefront. Past energy, we have the 6 of Wands. So usually this is an energy of success, recognition, validation. So it could just be saying that in the past you might have felt like you were getting those things, right? So like I said, especially if you just shifted a lot of your focus to your career, maybe you were getting accolades around that, right? Things along those lines. And there could have been some contentment around that for you in the past. All right. Present energy, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is actually you guys. Now, I would view this as actually a positive as far as the King of Pentacles, while it's a good energy overall, can be a bit fixed, a bit stagnant, right? So for those of you who feel like you might be stuck around a certain situation, to me this shows that you're feeling like yourselves, you're actually ready for movement, right? Ready to take on new things. So it does look like there is a desire on your part to actually take action around the situation. All right, near future position, we have the 10 of Cups. So yeah, whatever this situation is that causes you to actually get into a state of movement and a state of flow, it looks like it will actually bring happiness to you guys. Now, the good thing here, too, is, like I mentioned, Pisces energy for you guys represents your 10th house career and social status. So to see this come up, if this is around stagnation you felt in your career, this looks like you would get the progress there. And like I said, given that there will be that full moon toward the end of August, you might feel like that's when that energy really does kick in for you. All right, in the position of your influence in the situation, we have the Seven of Wands. So yeah, this could be pointing to the fact that maybe for some of you, you've just taken on too much energy by yourselves, right? So maybe that's been good for you for a while, but it could just be saying that now maybe you're called to integrate others around you. So like I said, for some of you, yes, it could just be a one-to-one romantic connection it's referring to. For others of you, it could just be your friendships, right? So like I said, maybe you just put so much energy in another area of life that it's affected your interpersonal connections. All right, in the environment position, we have the High Priestess. So for some of you, this could point again to some of the energy you guys have been in, right? A bit withdrawn from the public eye, things along those lines. Now, for some of you, I could also see this as saying that maybe that's what you're being called to do, right? And I feel like this is saying that if you do, you know, step away from the mundane day-to-day stuff and really look at things in an intuitive level, you might come to that realization as well that, okay, yeah, maybe I do need to get back out there, right? Especially if you feel like you've hit a wall in some way too. Right. In hopes or fears position, we have the Ace of Swords. So yeah, maybe for some of you, you have felt stuck for a bit, and to me, this would come across as a hope, right? Where you're like, okay, I hope that I am able to see the situation clearly, right? So like I said, you could have just been so embroiled in this one area of life that other areas of life might have become a bit fuzzy, a bit foggy for you, right? Where you might not have seen the cause and effect around the situation. So it looks like that's what you guys are hoping to see this month. All right. And in the outcome position, we have the Strength card. So this is actually the major arcana card for Leo. So of course we'll be in Leo season for a good portion of August. But given that this is your house communication, which is the house you guys naturally rule, I see some significance around that as well, where it could just be saying that maybe you're learning to, when to act, right? When to take action, when to fall back and be in a more receptive state. If you look at the line there, to me, the line represents a more masculine energy, right? Taking action, and sometimes in a more negative sense, possibly ego as well. But we do see the feminine energy is also taming that energy. So it could just be one of those things where you come to that realization like, okay, maybe there was a time for me to be very action oriented, always on the go, always taking on new things, right? And now you could say, all right, but I also have to know when to take my foot off the gas, relax a little bit, be in a more receptive energy. So I could just be saying that as we have that Venus retrograde energy in your third house and just Leo season in general, you could actually come to that realization around the situation. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the Hermit. So yeah, looking at this, I mean, that's actually a major arcana card for Virgo, by the way, which will be in Virgo season, of course, toward the end of August. But looking at the way he's looking down toward these cards, I feel like this is, again, like I said, you're coming to a realization of cause and effect around a certain situation, right? So, okay, initially, like I said, this is just a generic example, but it's a good way to explain the overall energies. So let's say you had a breakup of some kind, right? And in that process, you really said, you know what, I'm just going to throw all my energy into my career, right? To fitness, whatever thing you chose to throw all of your energy into. And now you might feel like, oh, okay, yeah, I've had success there, but now this area of my life is almost non-existent, right? So you're just saying, well, yeah, the cause and effect is if you put 95% of your energy into your career, then yeah, there's not going to be a lot of energy for your friendships, for your love connections, for your family connections, right? So you'll just be saying that you're coming to that realization this month, and that might even be very early in August too, given that full moon in Aquarius is going to be your ninth house. So sometimes that could be that higher learning, those sudden realizations as far as that goes. All right, moving on to your Four Agreements card, we have Don't Make Assumptions. It says Learn to Ask Questions. Okay. And there's the info on it. So it says it is always better to ask questions than to make assumptions. Have the courage to ask questions until you are as clear as you can be. Once you hear the answer to a question, you won't have to make assumptions because you will know the truth. Well, if nothing else, I will say for sure that's definitely a good energy to embrace. Well, most of the time, right? But especially given that there will be that Mercury retrograde energy that I talked about and the Venus retrograde energy, right? So the less room for miscommunication, the better. So hopefully that resonated. All right, moving on to your Wisdom Oracle card, we have Peace. There's the artwork, And the number is 23. So we'll see what this has to say. Okay, Central Meanings says freedom from attachment, radical acceptance. The Oracle's message: it doesn't get any better than this. A quiet mind, a heart fulfilled, freedom from want, and a soul satisfaction. The way to peace is through radical acceptance. Everything in your world is exactly as it should be. Harmony is beautiful. Enjoy it. So yeah, definitely a good message there, especially the part about freedom from attachment, right? Because, I mean, not all Taurus energy, but that can point to that energy, right? Of putting a lot of emphasis on attachment, right? What do you own? What do you have, right? So if you feel like that's just been taking on too much weight in your lives lately, could just be saying that you're going to start to feel liberated from that this month. All right, the relationship message says when two people are in true alignment with one another, they have an innate harmony between them. They are as two perfectly tuned instruments playing together. Sometimes it's impossible to tell who is who. Peace is yours and is to be savored. So yeah, definitely a positive message there. And I will say, like I said, maybe because you put so much energy into another area of life, that might have been blocking a connection from like that from coming in for a while. But if we want to look at this from the romantic perspective, seeing that come up as a challenge, and then the 10 of Cups in the near future position could just be saying that once that blockage is cleared, you will be able to embrace that energy more. The prosperity message says this is one of those times when you're capable of clear vision about your work and how you create your prosperity. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You're called by presence to step into your power. Just being is enough, for you are in peaceful harmony with spirit, and it shows in your work. So again, a positive message here as well. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. To me, makes you think of that King of Pentacles energy. Can have an energy of persistence, right? And really just locking into things. But again, like I said, I feel like you're being called to not place too much emphasis on one area of life in general. But hopefully it resonated. All right, and lastly, we have a Mudra for you guys. This is your Mudra here. It's the Chonmukha Mukha Mudra, and the keyword for it is cooperation. Interesting, right? Given what we were talking about with the Two of Cups energy there. But let's see if I can get it to focus first and foremost. There we go. So yeah, not everything's going to fit in the frame here, so what I'll do is hold this up for a second if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. And then we'll move it up to get the rest in the frame. Alright, so yeah, under benefits it says calms the mind, ignites feelings of devotion, balances solar and lunar energies in the body, harmonizes Apana and Prana values, used in yoga therapy to aid in cancer treatment and healing of autoimmune diseases. So if that sounds like a Mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. Alright, bye.